Welcome everybody to day number 2 of the Money School. This is basically the pre-event. That's what we're doing here. The Money School event is coming up in March, the end of the month. We're going to be putting links up so you guys can take part in the 3-day event that this is a lead up to, but there's just too much content for us to cover in a 3-day event. So we decided to do these events so we could talk about a lot of the other things that maybe we don't get time to talk about in the 3-day. And, you know, just like that video just saw, actually, first off, how many of you liked that video with the cat? We got any cat people on here, or is everybody a dog person? You know, because, you know, hey, listen, I can do that same one with the dog, except for it just doesn't have that same impact. But that, okay, we got some people that have both. But, you know, that was like, there's a hidden message in every one of those funny videos. And that video was just, you know, teach your children about money. And one of the things that I wanted to do today is see this book, Crucial Conversations. Stephen, you ever read this book?
I haven't, no.
This is a good one. Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High. I'm going to give this book away to one person today. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we'll think about it because we got you here for this training for the whole time. So you're going to get this. And I know a couple of people were asking earlier, can you 2x speed the video? Not when it's live, my friends. This is a live recording, but when you get the actual recording emailed to you, which all of you will get this recording, you will all be able to, I think, 2x it, 3x it, whatever you want. But we should all be not so much focused on 2xing this training. We should be focused on 2xing and 10xing the money in our bank. But that isn't going to happen because you've all mostly given up control of your money over the course of your lives. And we all have. I'm not saying it's just you, it's me as well. That's what we've been taught to do. Give up control of our money. I mean, think about what we do with our money. And I'm just going to pull out some money here. We have been taught, just like I talked yesterday, to go out and work for money, to go out and make the money, right? Make the Benjis, as they used to say. You know, we go out and we work hard, we make money. School teaches this, college teaches us this, and we make money. And what do? We make it and we basically immediately give up control. And we put some of that money in the bank, some of the money before we even get it, before we even get a check, that money goes into those beautiful 401ks, right? Those employer sponsored retirement plans. Before you even see it, oh no, let's sweep that money into this employer sponsored retirement plan where that money will sit for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years for some of you. And the sad part about that, of what we've been taught to do with money, and we've all been taught the same thing. My grandmother, when I was young, I'll never forget it. And my grandma, she's no longer with us. So, you know, she's up watching over us all. But she used to tell me, Chris, when you get a job, ask them if they have a 401k and make sure they match. And don't be like Grandpa and I. Make sure you put as much as you can into that. Now, this is conditioning from my grandparents, who were conditioned the same way as all of us were, to give up control. And we do. We take this $100 and we put it in the bank, or we put it in the 401k. And doing that, we just gave up control of the most valuable dollars you will ever have. I want you to think about this money I'm holding in my hands. Will this $100 be worth more in the future, or will it be worth more now? Well, some of you are thinking, well, I could grow it. No. This $100 as it sits will be worth less tomorrow. It will be worth less the next day due to inflation. And when the government prints $5 trillion, it creates a little bit more inflation. I have a piece from one of the economists that I follow and subscribe to. And, you know, inflation is definitely up, but the big problem is deflation, but we're not going to get into that. So if this money is going to be worth less in the future, then why do I want to give up my best dollars today? Why wouldn't I want to use this money, move this money, use this money today in opportunities? And that's what you should do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but we're going to talk about how you can put your best dollars to work today, and how these dollars can work for you instead of you working for them. Let me repeat that, folks. You need to start learning how to make your dollars work for you instead of what you've been taught, which is for you to work for your dollars. Does that make sense, everybody? Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you understand that? We need to make our money work for us, okay? Because there's only so many hours in the day. And yesterday, Stephen was alluding to time and how important time is. It's the most valuable thing we have. We only have so much time in a given day. And for those that are out there hustling, they're putting in the extra time, working overtime, putting in extra hours, but you still are always restricted to how many hours you can work. Now, Stephen gets up at 5 a.m. every morning. So he's got more hours in the day than I'm allowing for myself, but yet he still can't get everything done that he wants to. And if somebody focused just on dollars or hours traded for dollars, okay, I have X amount of hours. I have 40 hours is what the average person works. So I'm going to work 80. I have 80 hours. How much are you worth an hour? Are you worth 50 an hour, 100 an hour, 200 an hour, 500 an hour? What are you worth an hour? You have to determine that. I can't tell you what you're worth an hour, but no matter what number you give me, you are putting a limit on how much money you can make. And you are putting a limit on how much wealth you can build. Because if you're always looking at dollars for hours, there will always be a ceiling on your potential. But the wealthy do something different. You see, what the wealthy do is they don't just look at how many hours they have in the day. They look at how their dollars can go out there and work for them. Now, your dollars can work way harder than you. They can work 24/7. They can multiply through what's called compound interest, and they can basically duplicate. Now, last time I checked, Stephen and me, we haven't figured out how to duplicate ourselves. Otherwise, there'd be someone else behind me writing on the board while I'm talking. Stephen would have people out there in the water surfing. We can't mimic and duplicate ourselves, but we can compound our money, which means our money has an unlimited and infinite potential to go out there and make us incredibly wealthy. And if all of you did your homework yesterday, if all of you did the homework and you watched that video, okay, the strangest secret in the world, you will all understand that you are only capped by what you can dream up, by what you can think of. And all of you need to start practicing that 30-day course that he said. You know, first you got to come up with your goal. You got to write it down. You got to look at it every day, focus on it, dream about it, and all that. Yeah, that's all part of yesterday's exercise. But that was yesterday, and today is today. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about this and how you can start making this work for you. How you can take your lazy dollars, okay, your lazy money, because it is lazy, and how to make your lazy money go and work. And these are things that nobody will teach you how to do. Because in doing that, the only person that can do that, because the cavalry's not coming, in case you haven't figured that out, is you. So let's get into it, Stephen. Where should we start with that?
Yeah, I mean, so what you're saying is absolutely correct. And it comes down to, what is Money School? Why are we here? What is this 3-day workshop that we're doing? Why are we doing all these previews leading up to it? I mean, we're doing 90 minutes, 4 or 5 different times with a 2-hour group coaching call thrown in for our members and those attending the class. And then we're doing 3 full days of content and training. So, Chris, you and I are doing this all day, every day, from 5 a.m. till the time we go to bed at night. We're studying, we're reading, we're putting this stuff in motion. We're actively following all these strategies. We're actively making these investments. We're actively talking to people about it all day, every day, right?
Absolutely.
So I spoke to somebody earlier on the phone, and it got me thinking a little bit, because basically they were like, listen, I'm a nurse. I work in a hospital. I, have these old 401ks and old 401(k), and I have my active TSP now. And I don't know what to do with this stuff. And, I listen to you guys and I love everything that you say, but it just seems so overwhelming to me. She was like, I don't think I have time to go out there and spend, all day, every day learning this stuff and, following all these different techniques and strategies that you guys teach. And, I have my work. Now, if you hurt yourself or you get sick, come see me and I'll show you exactly what to do. And I was like, you know what? She's got a point, because
she sure does.
Because we have so much that we cover and we have so much education that we want to share with everybody, because it's so powerful. It's all about solving your money problem, taking back control. And, that's what we do. That I think sometimes we might overwhelm people. And so I just want to take a step back for just a second and say, listen, even if you're brand new to this stuff, it's one of the things that Chris is a miracle worker at is taking complicated subjects and breaking them down very simple that anybody can understand, even if you've never heard of any of this stuff before. And it's something that I've done pretty well with over the years, and Chris and the team that he's built around him, people like Andrew, are very, very good at, is also taking these complicated subjects and creating a step-by-step plan that you can follow. So you don't have to go out there and study all this stuff. You can just say, okay, let me just educate myself a little bit. You know, for example, during these 3 days, this 3-day Money School Essentials training we have coming up, let me at least get a broad understanding of everything. And then what people I don't think understand is we're not sending you out on your own at that point. You're not out there just doing it by yourself. We're with you every step of the way. So I'm doing calls with you. Chris is on the phone with you. Our money mentors are working with you to create this plan of action. So when you leave the 3-day, you're working with us to follow exactly what you need to do. And you know exactly what you're going to be implementing in your life to solve your money problems. Because I promise you this, we all have money problems. Even if you're very, very successful and you're making a lot of money, making 7 figures a year and over, you still have money problems. You're still trying to figure out how to protect that money, how to save money on taxes, how to save it going out there, how to increase it, how to create legacy money for generations to come. So I don't care if you're dead broke or if you're very successful, you have money problems. So what is your money problem and how do we solve that? And everybody's a little bit different. So we do talk about a lot of different topics and subjects because we have a lot of different students starting in different places, but we have something for everybody and we're not going to leave you on your own. So, and the last thing I'll say on that is, you know, I feel very blessed I'm able to be able to do what I do and dig into this stuff all day, every day. And it made, you know, a very nice living out of being able to do this and help other people. And, you know, it comes with a lot of hard work and it comes with a lot of, man, you got to grind sometimes and make things happen. I mean, last January, I ran a marathon over 26 miles and I had never ran more than 10 miles in my life prior to that. I did a half a marathon a couple of years prior, so 13, but I never did more than 10 miles outside of that in training or anything. Sometimes you just grind and you got to do things, right? And that's what I'm willing to do for every single one of you that's willing to take that leap and say, you know what? I know there's something better out there. I just need a little bit of help. I need a little bit of education. And I can promise you, Chris will promise you the exact same thing. So, you know, that's what Money School is all about, is solving, you know, what is your money problem? And let's take that and work with that. So don't let all these topics overwhelm you or anything like that. And if you get nothing else out of today, that's all I really want you to internalize and just think to yourself, all right, so what can I do to start right now? So take maybe one thing that we teach you over, you know, these free previews that we're doing right now, or one thing today that we teach you, and, you know, think about how you can implement that, right? So don't get overwhelmed by it. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
You know, I love that you said that. And I'm watching the comments, you know, and it can get, everything in life can be overwhelming. The first time you do anything, anytime you change the normal routine that you have, it's overwhelming. We get stressed out. Like if you're like me, if I look, you know, at my entire calendar for the week, I get overwhelmed. But when I only look at the day that I can control, like my watch says, it says now, when I only focus on what I can do right now or in this day, I don't get overwhelmed. I don't get stressed. And I think that's where a lot of people maybe are getting overwhelmed. And, you know, we get a lot of this, you know, it becomes a second job. It becomes overwhelming. That's because you're looking at the whole picture. If we just take that down and we really just focus on one thing, okay, what is one thing you can do? Yesterday, what was the homework? Can anyone tell me what your homework was that I asked you to do? Just one person. Let's hear what the homework was. What did I ask you to do yesterday? It was just one thing I asked you to do. What was it? Just put it in the chat real quick. Watch what video? What video did I ask you to watch? Right? Watch the YouTube video, but what video was it that you were supposed to watch? Because that will tell me if you actually did it. The strangest secret. Now, did any of you think that was overwhelming? Did any of you think that, there we go, whoa, now it's all coming in. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. Did anyone think that was overwhelming or too much or something like a second job? No, it was easy, right? You had one task. Watch a 23 or 25-minute video. No one had a problem with that. It's because you didn't try to eat the entire elephant, okay? Too many people try to eat the entire elephant in one bite, but that's not how you eat an elephant. You eat it one bite at a time. Let's go. I'm vegetarian, so I don't like talking about eating elephants, and none of you should ever try to eat an elephant, period, no matter how much of a delicacy it is. Don't do it. How do you get to the top of a mountain? Okay, how do you do that? Do you just snap your fingers and all of a sudden you're at the top? No, there's a plan. There's one step at a time, and you follow the plan. And eventually, if you wanted to get to the top of Mount Everest, you would plan for it, you would train for it, and you would eventually, one step after another, you'd get to the top. Building wealth is the same way. But if you try to focus on the top of the mountain when you're trying, it's just too big of a thing. I mean, look at Mount Everest. It's massive. Look at an elephant. They're giant. Can you imagine? You can't digest that. You can't take all that in. So what we need to do is we need to take all the stuff we teach, boil it down to one thing, just like all of you watched the video. Okay. That one thing should be focused around what is your number one priority? What is your number one money problem? Now, all of you, it's going to be different. Some of you, it's going to be debt. I need to pay off my debt. Great. Let's just focus on that. Forget about all this other stuff that we can do. We'll get there one step at a time. But right now, if your concern is getting out of debt, let's get that done. If your concern right now is maybe you're nervous about what's going to happen in the stock market, like we talked yesterday a lot about. If you're worried about the markets going down, you got all your money in the 401k. Let's take all the stuff we teach and let's just focus on what do I do today to protect my money for what potentially might be coming. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just giving you different examples. Let's say your number one money problem today is you need more income. Great. Let's focus on that money problem and only figure out how do we add more income. I want you to think about high school, right? I want you to think about children in school, because right now we're writing a brand new program and it's going to be all for kids. Okay, it's called Money's Cool. Now, teaching kids has to be fun. Teaching kids has to be completely different, one little step at a time. You are no different than those kids that we're going to teach, except for as we get to be grown-ups, we think we need to do everything. You do not. You just need to learn one little thing to get you to that next step. And if you just did that consistently and persistently, all of you would have miraculous success when it comes to your wealth, your finances. But the problem is, we all too much try to get it all done. We try to focus on everything we want, and then we get overwhelmed. And what happens when you get overwhelmed, folks? Can anyone tell me what happens when you when you bite off too much or you get overwhelmed? Nothing. You quit. A lot of people quit, paralysis by analysis. You just get overwhelmed and you do absolutely nothing. You freeze in the headlights. That can't happen. So listen, folks, there's 69 people on today. We had, I think, 80 some yesterday. I don't know all of your individual situations, but believe me, if you come to the 3-day, you are going to get a call with Stephen or somebody on the team, and we're going to figure out what your money problem is. And we're going to solve that money problem. And it doesn't matter what that money problem is. We will solve it.
Chris, check this out. So Andrew just sent me over these. I'm just going to share my screen real quickly. So if you look at these are just a few testimonials that people had text to us. So the one on the left over here, if you read this, they said, so my boyfriend and I have been going through the money school and went to November 2023 day event. Since going through these training sessions, we have started our first IBC policy, started self-directed IRAs each, initiated our LLC paperwork and a family trust, and are looking for our first rental property to be purchased with private money. 6 months ago, we didn't know how we were going to get out of the rat race, but now we do. Next month, we will begin paying off our god-awful student loans using our policy. So excited for our future. We are also training our daughter how money works so that she can do the same things we are. And, I did not plan on just when I started talking about that, I didn't even see that testimonial first. And then Andrew just texted me and said he sent a couple over. I pulled it up. I'm like, this is what we just spent 10 minutes talking about. Yeah. So it's so crazy. Cool to see, what I'm thinking, the students actually are doing it and it's happening. So,
and those are just screenshots of text messages of people telling us what they think. That's not like some planned thing. Like literally, I don't know if you guys all noticed, those are just screenshots of a phone that Andrew took. Those are we get testimonials all the time, but every one of those, you notice those people, they focused on an immediate goal and they just tackled it. And then their future looked that much brighter. We don't need to take care of every problem you have. We need to take care of one problem and your future gets brighter every time. Just like that light at the end of the tunnel. All we need to do is take one step forward and you're closer to that light. We will get you there, but we have to do it so that you're not overwhelmed. So you're not looking at this as being a second job. God forbid that. Nobody wants that. And I don't either. But that's what we're going to do. So today, Stephen, what I was thinking, and I know you were thinking this too, is let's talk about lazy money. Let's talk about lazy money. Let's talk about 401ks, because that's very timely. And I really want to talk about employer-sponsored retirement plans. Maybe we'll get into self-directed IRAs, Stephen, if you have it in you and you want to really get into that. But I think those are the main topics. I don't want to take on too much today, because the 3 days really going to go deep into a lot of ways for you people and everybody on here to really dive in and figure out how your money can work for you. So I think today, let's tackle a couple of those. Yesterday, I ended with what I have been learning is an all-weather portfolio. Today, I want to talk about your lazy money, and Stephen also wants to talk about this because we talked about it all day. And we also want to talk about your 401ks, your employer-sponsored plan, 401k, 403b, 457, TSP, whatever it is, and they go by many names. I want to talk about that in some simple, easy things. And I know you guys love that. Simple and easy, right? That's what the money multiplier is. That's why it's so successful. You only have to do one thing. You have to change where your money goes first. And then we help with the rest. Well, that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you one thing that you can do that will help you.
Yeah, I think it's perfect, Chris, because this will give people an idea. Hey, this is stuff that's going on in my life that I can start doing right now. And I don't know if you, but we actually have Sodi going to be joining us in about a half an hour also. So it's going to be beautiful because, yesterday we talked a lot about real estate and all the opportunities, whether you get into, wholesaling or flipping, or you follow the BRRRR strategy and acquire long-term holds or rental properties, or you get into land developments, or maybe you just get into private money lending or investing in private funds where a professional manager actually doing the developments and doing the projects, just lending them money and being involved that way. So, all the different ways you can invest in real estate, and that's done primarily through, self-directed IRAs. So taking those old 401ks, 403bs, whatever the case might be, directing those out of the stock market, putting them into the self-directed and deploying the money through real estate, right? Which I'm a huge fan of. And I think everybody on here knows that 100%, that I don't love the stock market. But with that being said, we do have Sodi also coming on right now today. And Sodi is the expert at the stock market, and not only options trading and swing trading and teaching you how to evaluate long-term stocks versus short-term, and, the different caps and all that. But, he also is very, very good. And we talked a little bit yesterday about hedging, which is basically staying in the stock market, but protecting your money in there. Okay. So setting it up in a way where when there are downturns, you're either safe or you're even taking advantage of those downturns and of that volatility. So it'll give you a really nice mix today of, okay, so I didn't even know I could put this lazy money to work, but now that I know I can put this lazy money to work, what sounds better to me? Do I like the idea of investing through these different means of real estate, or do I maybe want to stay in the stock market and learn that and go there? So there will be two different strategies that we'll teach you today using lazy money to start growing your wealth without doing anything but changing one thing in your life, putting that money to work for you just as hard as you work to get that money in the first place.
And look at this. Colleen just put up there, I took money from an old 401k that was getting 1.9%, wasn't even keeping up with inflation, and moved it into a self-directed IRA. And now she's getting 12%. Some people would be like, oh, I don't know how to do that, or that sounds complicated. Colleen, was that complicated for you to learn how to do that? Because I know what she did wasn't hard at all. She just learned one more thing than some of you already know, because she focused on that. That was her money problem. She was sick of making 1.9%. She was sick to death of giving up control of her money. And she saw one of the videos we did, I don't know which one, and she says, screw that. And she took back control. And she just did that one thing. Now that one thing will catapult her into the next. And that's, I think, what we need to do today. And, one of the things too, I'll mention, anybody that goes through the 3-day, and Stephen talked about this yesterday, you all get a self-directed IRA with all the setup fees waived because of your relationship with Money School. So any of you that enroll in the 3-day, you get that Horizon Trust self-directed IRA, no setup fees, which saves you about $350. That more than pays for the enrollment into the 3-day event. So that's just one little thing. That's just one thing. Holy crap. That's like the smallest thing of the whole bonus package we give you for the 3-day. So Stephen, let's dive right in. Let's talk lazy money, because this is one of my favorite topics, because it's a topic that my whole life I've seen it happen. I've seen people that don't understand the lazy money. And I really love talking about this. So let's pull up the slides and let's dive right into this.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. I mean, the slides are kind of just one slide about HELOC and about the employee sponsor. Do you want to do some drawing, or do you just want me to pull the slides up?
Oh, you want me to draw? Sure.
I don't know. I mean, it might be a little more fun if you do some drawing. You know,
I can certainly do that, man.
The slides just kind of, at least the one I have in my presentation is made just to hit on, but I want to get a little more in depth with it.
All right. So, how many of you have ever, we all have houses, and all of you know that the market in real estate has really just gone up. So the appreciation in most people's homes has gone up tremendously. Okay. So your houses have all appreciated, but you know who else's houses have appreciated? Your friends, your family, your coworkers, all of their houses have gone up in value. And because they've gone up in value, if we just kind of took and we just said, that this is the level of appreciation, as I color the house in, every year that the house appreciates, they have more and more value. This would be called your equity. Okay, so the equity in your house is hidden lazy money. So this equity right here is the same thing as lazy money. Because every single day when you come home after a hard day of work, I want you all to think long and hard about that house and how much equity you have in your house. And oh my God, the value of my house has gone up so much in the last couple of years. I can't even believe it. But then I want you to think that when you walk through that front door after that hard day, you're excited because you see your house and it's increased in value. But you look over on the couch, and right there on your couch is your money. And your money's literally sitting on your couch, watching TV, eating your potato chips, drinking your soda, and it looks back at you and it says, what, did you have a hard day? What you should immediately think about is that's exactly what your money does every day. When you have all this equity in your house, that's what your money's doing. It is literally just sitting there lazy. We actually built a slide on that. And any of you that have followed me long enough, you hear me talk about this a lot because it really is something that when I understood this, it changed everything for my mom. It changed everything for a lot of people, for my friend Rick, my friend Linda and Ed, like all of them. Why? Because they had equity in their homes. My mom used to have equity in her house. She first put her house in the line so I could, open Fat Man board shops. But then later when that was paid back, she had this equity, and we found a way for my mom's house, okay, this thing. And I don't want anyone to think that I grew up with, my mom's house is a 700 square foot 2-bedroom house. That's all. So if any of you have a house bigger than 700, then you grew up or you're in a much nicer place than I was. But my mom's house had roughly 50K in equity. And my mom lives a hard life. She's, back, when I was growing up, we had no money for anything. She drove beat up old cars that the floorboards were rusting out on. The tires were always bald. There was always something going on because she didn't have the money. If she wanted something like a lawnmower, she would save her spare change and put it in this giant glass like thing. And when that was full, she had enough money to buy the lawnmower. How many of you can relate to that? And I hope no one on here can. But the whole time that this was going on, that she's putting her quarters and her nickels and her dimes in this glass thing to save up for that lawnmower, her money was sitting right there on her couch. And she had no idea how to make her money work for her until one day we figured it out, right? One day the light bulb went off and I said, Mom, that equity in your house, if you lend that money to me and I buy real estate with it and I pay you a return of 10%, which is what I used to pay my mom, that 10% on 50,000 is enough to pay for a new car payment. My mom leases. I can't get her off the whole lease thing, but it's enough to pay your lease. So I started doing that. And when I wasn't borrowing money, my mom was taking her 50,000, that lazy money, and we were lending that out to other people. And I was helping her do this. So I want all of you to understand that, like, she had me, and you all will have me as well. And Stephen and that my whole team will be available to you to help you do this, but you got to believe that this is possible. My mother knows nothing about money. She might be one of, I would say, probably the worst money people I've known in my life. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but she never learned it. And she never had the mental capacity to, but she learned one thing. And she learned that her money in her house, through a thing called a HELOC, could be used to pay for her car, okay, which she has an SUV. So her money in her house could be used to pay for this SUV that she's got. That's what she learned. So the 50 could afford her roughly a $300 a month car. Not a hard thing to understand. The only hard part about this is how does she move the 50 into something that will pay her $300 a month? And that's the beauty. It's everywhere around you, folks. Stephen mentioned it yesterday. There's two sides to every single coin. There's a heads and a tails. And the heads is people that have money. My mom, although she didn't have money, she had access to $50,000 through a home equity line of credit. Okay? And tails are people that need money to make money. Real estate investors, businesses that need capital. I mean, you could go on and on and on. People need to borrow money to buy cars. I mean, you could be a lender on a car, but I wouldn't suggest that. The difference is you don't have the most important part about that coin, and that is the edge. And all the edge is the connector, the education. We call it what you just came up with this, Stephen. You came up with that connector. And what are you calling it? And people are going to hear about this on the 3-day. It's the money school. What are you calling that now?
The Private Money Club?
That's right.
It's looking good too. It's awesome. And the best thing is if you've never lent money before, everyone that's presenting deals on there is using the perfect loan proposal that Chris created. So you're going to be able to evaluate whether or not you want to put your money to work or find another deal. It's just all of our owner, operator, managers are in there with the big projects. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah. So the Private Money Club is exactly that. It's a club that's designed to literally connect the heads and the tails together. It's the edge. It brings you together with people like me, people that need to borrow money for something. And then it teaches you the fundamental principles of how this works. So if I wanted to put this lazy money to work for mom, I would have to learn how to, number one, protect my mom, right? Because there's a lot of bad people out there that if you gave them money, you may never, ever get this $300 a month. So you got to protect yourself. And how do you protect yourself? You just copy. How many of you, and you can be honest, how many of you in high school maybe cheated one time? You know, the little piece of paper folded up under your hand that you kind of lifted up, or maybe the answers written, you know, I don't know. I used to put them up here, but how many, come on, let's be real. We all did that.
Those TI-83 calculators you programmed.
Yeah, we all did that a little. I did it a lot in Spanish class and also English, but you know, we all did that. So if we just want to mimic or copy, like we did maybe only once, maybe somebody on here never did it. We want to mimic and copy what a bank does. So if you borrow money from a bank, you've all done it. You walk in there, the guy in the suit with the little VP of lending shows up. You know, we'll get into that vice president thing on the 3-day, but they show up and they write you the loan. And what do? You sign your life away. You've heard this. You fill all the forms out. Well, what are those forms? If we were just going to mimic and copy to protect ourselves, number one, we would need a promissory note. Okay, we're just going to call it a note. You guys can Google promissory note. It's easy. And all that's going to do is spell out the terms and conditions. And the person borrowing the money would sign this note, not you, signed by the borrower. Okay, you're the lender. Okay, mom is the lender. Remember, mom's money, she's going to be the lender, or she's going to be the bank, BYOB, just like the hat says. So you need a note because you have to arrive at the terms. This person, okay, the borrower needs $50,000 and mom is willing to lend that at 10%, simple interest. She wants monthly checks because, hey, her car payment comes every month. So she wants monthly income and she wants that lent out for no more than 12 months. And there's more terms. So that's the note. The second thing is she's going to want a personal, and you can include this, but I'm going to show this, a personal guarantee. So a personal guarantee is saying that the borrower personally is going to guarantee the loan. The third thing mom wants is a mortgage. And all of you might be looking at this stuff and say, oh, I don't know what these documents are. Great. Well, you know what? The Private Money Club gives you all these. We give you samples of every one of these, and we show you exactly how to do this. And we show you literally step by step how to do this. So the mortgage is the security. How many of you saw Talladega Nights? Remember Ricky Bobby? What did his dad tell him early on in the movie? Remember, he came into that high school class and he got kicked out. What did they say? Can anyone tell me what Ricky Bobby's dad said when he was getting kicked out of that school for show and tell or whatever that was? He was walking to his car and he looks at Ricky and he says, what? If you're not first, you're last. Remember that always. And that means when you lend and there's a security, you want to be first. You want to be in a first position, because if you're not first, you're last. So the mortgage is the security. And then the only other thing you really want is insurance companies are a great thing, because what they do is they ensure that if something goes wrong, that you're going to get paid. And you know what? If I lend money on a real estate deal, if I lend money on a house and that house gets struck by lightning and burns to the ground, do I want to get the money? Do I want to collect my money from the borrower who just lost his house? Nah. Who do I want making my check out? Or who do I want paying me my check for this loss? The insurance company. So we got to make sure there's an insurance policy naming me additionally insured. So these are some of the things. We just want to protect ourselves. We're going to teach you all that. That's all easy. That's part of the private money club. It's part of the 3-day. But this is what mom had to go through and learn. Now, right now, if this is the first time you're ever seeing this, you might be overwhelmed because you're trying to digest all of this. But the best part about this is you don't have to digest any of this. You know what you need? Hire an attorney. How much will an attorney cost? If you're smart, you will put all your attorney costs on who? The borrower. Why would I do that? That doesn't seem right, really, because the last time I checked, I'm the heads. I've got the money. Tails needs the money. So if the tails needs my money, I have some terms. My terms are 10% for 12 months. I want monthly interest payments, and you're going to cover the legal cost for the note, the mortgage, and all of that. Not too bad, right? And then all you do, once the deal's done, you collect monthly checks. And if something goes wrong, you call that attorney with your feet up, because you're on the couch now, your money's out there working. Now you're the one on the couch with your soda and the Lay's potato chip. Doesn't that look better? Instead of seeing your money on the couch, now you're on the couch. Way better. And now what you do is you call the attorney and say, hey, that borrower that I lent money to stopped paying me. Can you send them a letter? And then eventually, if they don't do anything, you take the property and you find someone like Stephen, me, or another real estate investor to take the property. All we did here, folks, is we mimicked what a bank does every single day, but the bank does it with your money. And how much money does the bank make? 400 to 1,300% more than you do. And if you're okay with that, this is not the right training for you. If you're not okay with the bank making 400 to 1,300% more than you, then you're in the right place, because it's time for you to take back control. This is just one form of lazy money. Does anyone have any questions on what my mom learned here? She learned how to take the equity in her house. She learned how to basically mimic what the bank did by following 4 simple steps. Okay. And then what she did is, she had me to help connect, which I am the same thing as the private money club. Okay. Connect her to somebody that would then pay her $300 a month. And she took that $300 a month and did what? She went out and leased herself. What does she have? A Chevy Equinox. Nothing fancy, but she loves that thing to death. I could never tell her that there's a nicer car in the world, because that's her car and she loves it. So that's that one.
But yeah, we do have a couple questions on it while you're flipping over, and I'll hit those, and then I'll say one thing real fast before the questions. When I first got into real estate, I used to, the way I got taught it was to obtain properties as rentals. And this can be apply the exact same way when it comes to private lending, but obtain rentals that are paying you enough income on a regular basis to buy whatever it is you want to buy. So if you want a new car and that payment on that new car is $300, then just find a little rental that pays a few $100 a month. If you want a new boat and it's couple $1,000s a month, you buy a house or a triplex or a small little multifamily that's paying a couple $1,000s a month, and that's now your boat property, right? So you have properties for every single one of your little, different toys or cars or expenses in your life, and that always stuck with me. So it's the same thing. So one question: can you use the money you have in a self-directed IRA to do this? Yes.
Absolutely. We're going to cover that next. When we get to employer-sponsored retirement plans, I'm going to run you through the gamut. I first wanted to talk about one of the largest places where people have hidden money. where their money is just sitting is in their house. It's this equity that's sitting in their house because the market's been really hot. And you know what happens? People are like, oh, the equity in my house is there. It's going to continue to be there. When the market goes down and your house drops in value, is the money still there for your taking? When COVID started, did anyone see the news flashes on CNBC about Wells Fargo freezing and not doing lines of credit anymore? They did that. I don't know if you guys saw that. How about in 2009? Were banks eager to send you and give you home equity lines of credit on your house? No, those were non-existent. So when you look at the time to do this, folks, if your clock doesn't say now, it's the wrong time, because that is the right time for you to do this. So if your problem was income, or your problem was you needed some money to pay off your debts. So how about we make this even easier? Steven, I'm just going to go one more. How am I doing on time here?
We're good. We're good. I just got a couple more questions once you get through this.
And I promise I'll hit them, but I want to cover one more important thing. This is the equity in your house. Okay. Now let's talk about one more thing. Let's just say your goal was not to lend money and create income. Let's say your goal was debt. Okay. So let's say you got a whole bunch of debt. You got these credit card robbers charging you 29.97%, and another credit card is charging you 17.99. And you got this line of credit that you took out a long time ago to help your, I don't know, your brother-in-law out, you know, your broke brother-in-law. You took a line of credit out because they were in a bind and you lent it to them and you never got it back, and you owe them and they're charging you 8.99%. You see, you got all these debts. So let's just say we got $40,000 in debt with an average cost. So the interest rate, an average interest rate, let's just, I don't know, I'm just going to guess. Let's say that that's 12.97%. And every single month you're paying a payment to all these debts. And let's just call it $500 a month. Okay. So this is maybe your problem, because now we went from the problem being income to now the problem being debt. This is your money problem. But we've got our equity over here. So wouldn't it make sense? And it's funny, my studio guest is Joseph, and this is exactly what he does, which is why I had to talk about this. So he shows up and I'm like, ding, 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 got to do this. What if my mom had all these debts? Let's pick on my mom again. Couldn't my mom take the money from her home equity line of credit? Okay. Couldn't she take her HELOC? And her HELOC, I think, is like 4.75%. Couldn't she take this 50, take $40,000 of that, pay off that credit card, pay off that credit card, pay off that credit card, pay off that, you know, get rid of that average return, and then just take this $500 a month that she used to pay everybody else, and then just shift that $500 a month to pay off her home equity line of credit? What did she just make there? Well, if her HELOC, let's just round it up to 5%. For HELOC's 5, and you were giving away, round this up to 13. What's 13 minus 5, folks? Did I do my math right? Is that 8? Am I right there? 8?
Yep. Okay.
You just made a spread of 8%. Can you, real quick, let's do the math, folks. What is 8% on $50,000? Or let's do 40. Remember, $40,000 times 0.08 is 3,200 divided by 12. That is equal to $266.67 a month. Now, how many of you could use $266 extra dollars every single month? How many of you? If anyone doesn't say me, then there's something seriously wrong with you, because it doesn't matter how much money you make. I could use an extra 266. And folks, here, did I do anything? Did this make me have to work any harder? Did I have to go to work to do this? Did I really have to do anything that took a lot of work outside of saying, wait a second, like Joseph took him 1.5 years to figure this out, or was it 2? Sorry. Joseph said, I can borrow this money in my house at a rate lower than what I'm spending over here. And if I do that, I make this spread, and I can then take this spread and I can do all sorts of things, like start a privatized banking policy, and it goes on and on. But then I know there's somebody on here, and I promise I will answer questions after this, but there's someone on here that says, oh, Chris, these lines of credit, these HELOCs, I tried, I got denied. Great. Well, there's a funny thing that we have that you're going to learn about in the 3-day called private equity. And private equity loves real estate. I don't know why. Stephen, why the heck would private equity, pension funds, and billion-dollar funds, why would they love real estate? That's an interesting one. So what if you could get a private equity firm to give you the equity in your house, and that company would give you the equity and there would be no debt, which no debt means no monthly payment. Okay. So no debt, no monthly payment. And what if this private equity firm just said, hey, we're going to give you the equity in your house. We'll give you that money that the bank would have given you for the HELOC. Let's call it that 50 grand. We'll give that to you. You don't ever have to make a monthly payment. It's not going to be debt on your credit report. All we're going to do is that house. Remember, I showed you that house. Remember, the equity was here. When that equity goes up from there to here, okay? When the equity goes up one more notch, okay? So they want this. You're going to share in that increase. So when you sell your house in 30 years from now, this private equity firm is going to ask you for some of this appreciation. So if your house is worth 200 now, and in 30 years from now, your house is worth 500, did you have to work any harder to get that appreciation? No, it just happened. And now what you're going to do is you got the money to use today to pay off all those debts. But now in 30 years or whenever you sell your house, you're just going to have to share some future appreciation that doesn't even exist today with them. So don't tell me just because you can't qualify for a home equity line of credit, you can't do what my mom is doing. You can. All right, let's do some questions.
Yeah, no, I love that too. The private equity, being able to do the HELOC that way, because it's just the fact that there's no debt on the books and you have to worry about any kind of payments. It gives you so much more flexibility what you can do. And then, if you do financially get in a position where you want to eliminate that, you can just buy them back out and you're good to go again. So it's, it's really cool. And is he coming? He'll be on the 3-day too, right?
He is. That's why I just wrote it. His name is
nice.
Matthew. He's the founder and one of the owners of Quantum RE, this private equity firm.
Awesome guy too. It's always one of the hottest parts of the 3-day. So get ready for that. Those of you that are enrolling. Just a couple of questions, really. Sure. Colleen was basically just saying exactly what you just said. So if I had 100 grand in a HELOC at 4.5 and I can earn 12%. On that, does it make sense to do it? Absolutely. You got a 7.5%. Yeah, exactly. So, so you already answered that one, which is good to go. Thank you, Colleen. So somebody's just asking me HELOCs on rental properties. Can they use them on rentals?
Sure. Yeah. And not only can you use HELOCs, Quantum RE, this company, this private equity firm, will also give you equity on your rentals. Yeah, there are lots of companies. Not every bank will give you a home equity line of credit on a non-owner occupied rental property. So a property non-owner occupied means you're not living there. So you have to find, usually community banks will. I know my community bank will lend on my rental properties and give me lines of credit till the day is long. They love it. They don't care, because now not only do they have the house to secure it, now they have rental income to secure it. So it's like a double win for a bank, but not all banks would do this. So if you're going to commercial banks, Banks of America, Wells Fargo, probably not going to have much luck there. Go one level down and go to community banks. Well, I'm going to teach you all about this in the 3-day and the first day. You're going to learn all about this, but yes, you can use rental properties for those.
Yeah. Somebody said, I tried to do a full flip first position HELOC last year, 2 weeks before COVID hit. The process froze up, still waiting. Maybe I shouldn't do it now, ?
So you mean, did you lend money to a real estate investor right before COVID and then it froze up?
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
I guess, can you clarify that question? Because if that's the case, something's very wrong, because real estate during COVID, yes, it froze up. Okay. So I had some loans out there and I had to tell the people that I lent the money, listen, let's give it a few months, just pay me half of what you're paying me or whatever you can. We arrived at a premium or an amount and then make up the difference on the back end. And all those people that I was lending to that I got nervous about during COVID, after COVID opened up, the market skyrocketed. They finished their houses and got them on the market and paid me back my money. I just wanted the interest payments. They paid it back. So if that's a private loan that got froze up because of COVID, that should be long gone now. And if that person is dragging their feet to get that house done and on the market, they're, number one, they're idiots. Number two, a simple, quick, swift call to your attorney, letting your attorney know that you might want to give them a kick in the ass wouldn't be such a bad idea.
Yep. Okay, cool. So yes, we are recording this. We're recording all the previews. You will receive them via email and they will be on the registration page as well. Within about 24 hours. So you can check either there or your email for the recordings. Those of you that are asking about the 3-day, training. If you can't make it for all or any or one or two of the days or anything like that, those are also recorded. You will get those recordings. You'll have unlimited access to them as many times as you want to watch them into the future, over and over and over. Somebody's asking if they could just buy day one. The whole 3 days is only $297. So I don't know how much less you want us to make it, but $297 gets you everything, all 3 days, the recordings, but also all the bonuses. So you get 30 days to MSTV to try it out. If you enroll by Thursday, you can join us for this month's 2-hour coaching call, which are unbelievable. I mean, they're worth, tens of thousands of dollars on their own, but we including that with it. And then we give you File Vault, which are all the tools that Chris has developed and used to do 260 flips in his career. You guys are getting those. You're getting, we'll pull up the page in a minute, but you get all the bonuses and everything. So it's $297 for everything. So come Friday, who knows, maybe 6 months from now, or you can share it with, an adult, a child or something like that, and start teaching them, watch Saturday and Sunday when you can. So hopefully that answers your question there. Best way to check value on your properties. There's a couple sources out there, things like Zillow, take those with a grain of salt. The easiest way, in my opinion, is work with a realtor and just have them run comps for you. So it's very simple to do. And, I always say, take care of realtors. If you are using them a lot and you're not closing any deals with them, maybe just send them a gift card for a cup of coffee or take them
Starbucks.
out.
That's what we do. Before we had our software, I did this a lot. I would always call Anas and be like, hey, I know I ask a lot. Can you tell me what this house would be worth? Pull the comps. Sometimes I would need a BPO, which is a buyer's price opinion, and she would do it. And I'd send her a $25 gift card. That went miles. So sometimes you just gotta, just find a way, but Zillow, not really probably the best way.
Right. Yeah. Stay away from those. And yes, we do. We will introduce you to Flipping Edge, and there's other real estate software out there that makes it very, very easy to pinpoint specific properties and really put in the details and pull very, very strong comps actually using that. So CMAs, BPOs, those are all just real estate jargon. CMA is comparable market analysis. BPO is more commercial side, or banks will request it normally for like short sales, things like that. It's just broker price opinions. So, those comps, CMAs, BPOs, it's all pretty much the same thing.
I just put this up for Keith. So this would be like a low scale amount to lend, 10 grand. You could even do less, on like a gap funding and things like that. We have a bunch of lenders in our private community that lend small amounts. We just put them into deals like on a very small level. Just realize it, the smaller the amount you have, the only difficult thing in like a $5,000 or a $10,000 lend would be you're probably not going to be in first position. Because you're going to probably be in a second position. So there's, kind of take Ricky Bobby. Remember at the end of Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby was like following his dad when he left Applebee's. I watched this movie too many times. And he's like, but Dad, you told me if you're not first, you're last. He's like, what? He was like, you can be second, you can be third, you can be fourth. Sorry, getting too deep into Talladega Nights here.
All right, one more thing, and then this is going to lead right into the next part real fast, and I think Sodi's jumping on too. But they just said, so to clarify, if I purchase the class but cannot attend, I still get all the trainings. Yes, you're going to get all the recordings immediately when they're done, as long as it takes us to upload them into the system, which is a few hours. And then you can watch them over and over and over again, 24/7. You'll get a membership into our education platform, which is Teachable, and all your channels inside of there, the 3-day recordings, MSTV on demand, the File Vault, and then anything else you do with us. And it's all right there in there for you. And then somebody asked, which is better, or I'm sorry. And then they said, I don't have any equity in my home. What other options for hitting money can I look for? So that's what Chris is drawing up right now.
I'm kind of getting there right here.
Okay.
So IRAs, Roth IRAs, simple IRA. It's kind of like Bubba Gump shrimp, right? We got shrimp scampi, we got, stir fried shrimp, whatever, all of them. Well, we got all sorts of different options. So for here, some people were asking about 401k. So remember, we just talked about equity in your house. Some of you may not have equity in your house. Some of you actually might be like, I'm way smarter than that. I don't own a house. I rent my house and I own the rentals that I live in. So you might not have a house. So does anyone have an old 401k? Okay. Or maybe a current 401k. Maybe you're still working your job. You're contributing part of your pay into the 401k. Somebody was asking, should I still continue to put money into my 401k? Simple answer. The answer is yes. And I know a lot of people are like, wait, what? You said that they're bad. I shouldn't put money into my 401k. There's one exception. You should definitely contribute to your 401k up to a max of the amount that they will give you for a match. If your company matches 4%, safe harbor rules, put in 4%. If your company matches 3%, put in 3%. Some companies get tricky. They're like, well, we'll match 50 cents in the dollar up to 6%. Silly rabbit again. That's 3%, folks, but you do need to put 6% in. So to get 3, you got to put 6 in. I would say do that. But how many of you are putting more than 3% in, more than your match amount? I bet you a lot of you are. So you want a simple answer? Yes to your 401k up to the amount that that company that you work for will match. Because, hey, listen, folks, I don't care how good Sodi is, how good Steven is, how good I am. I can't give you free money. I'll show you how to make your money work. But you know what? That's free money. And we need to get that. So I'm no fool. And if somebody's offering a match, free money, go get it. So that's it. Above and beyond that, there's a lot of reasons. Consult with your CPA if you need tax write-offs. There's a lot of like moving parts, but the simplest answer is up to the match. After that, no more. But how many of you have money sitting in the 401k, right? How many of you also have the same need? Like over here, remember we were talking about the private lending. Okay, we were talking about debts. Okay, we were talking about cars and car payments and all those things. So your 401k, now I got to kind of draw a line here because these are going to be different. Your 401k, most all of them have a loan provision. Okay, it's very rare that I see somebody that does not have a loan provision in their 401k. And Stephen would know this, but Stephen, you know, right now, during COVID, it was fun because we could take a lot more. But right now, you can take 50,000 or 50%, whichever is greater. And I think the greater sign doesn't look like that, something like that. Okay, that's the greater sign. So if you could take a loan from your 401k, can anyone tell me how that works? How do you take a loan from your 401k? Well, how about I tell you? It's very simple. A lot of times you log in and you click loan. Yep, that's it. Okay, some of you that's complicated. So let's not do that. Pick your phone up and call and say, I want to take a loan. And if you don't know if you can take a loan, pick the phone up and call. There's an 800 number on every one of your statements. Okay, call the 800 number. Say, hey, I just listened to this crazy guys on this thing, Stephen and Chris, and they said I can take a loan for my 401k. Can I do that? Oh, yes, sir, ma'am. Yes, you can. Great. How much can I take? Well, based on the account value, your max amount is 50 grand. And then you should be thinking, okay, I can take 50 grand and I owe, remember, let's just say your money problem is debt again, and I owe 40,000 in debt. What would, in a rate of 12.97%, what should you do? Well, I would highly suggest you get really happy and you take a loan for $40,000. And when you take the loan, there's two things that have to happen. Number one, this 40 grand that you took has to be repaid. 100%. That 40 grand in that loan has to be repaid to your 401k. And the second thing, it has to be repaid with interest. Oh, well, that sucks. But does everybody know if you repay your 401k per paycheck, who gets this interest? So let's just say they charge you 5% on that $40,000 loan. Who keeps that? Is it your nasty company that's, you know, always making you work those overtime hours and, you know, the TPS reports are due? Is that the company that gets that money? No. Is it the financial company, the Principal, the Prudential, the Vanguard? Do they keep that 5%? No, you do. This 5% is your money. So when you pay your loan back with interest, you're literally paying yourself back at a rate of whatever that loan interest is. If it's 5%, you're repaying your money at 5%. So now, if our money is 5%, that's money going back into our 401k, and you're losing 12.97% every single month to pay your debts. Wouldn't it make sense to take this 40,000, pay off these debts, take the 500 a month you were giving to those debtors, and let's just say this payment's 300 a month. Okay, you owe 300. We take 300 from this 500, And then the $200 a month, what are we going to do with that? Well, you can enjoy it. You can pay your car payment with it. You can do lots of things. You can start a private bank with it. You can do all sorts of things with that extra $200. But that $200, folks, was literally kind of created out of thin air. Kind of like the Fed prints money out of thin air. This isn't really out of thin air, but all you're doing here is you're being the bank because you're using your money to pay off debt. And then you're taking the money that you used to give your debtors, the $500 a month, and you're paying it back to yourself. And in doing that, you just recaptured 12.97% plus, we already talked about this, you're keeping the 5%. You just made money twice. You literally did. And the other best thing is if you think the market's going to go down, whatever money you take out in a loan, that pulls the money out of the stock market. And where's the stock market right now? Does anyone agree that the stock market's really high? And what does Warren Buffett say to do when the market's really high? Sell high. And what does he say to do when the market's really low? Buy low. And what does he say to not lose money or something? If you sell high and you buy low, how can you lose money? Simple. So everybody understand this? And this doesn't have to be debt. Heck, this can be private loans. This can be real estate. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm literally creating money out of money that you already have, but your money isn't working for you. You have given up control of that. You're letting somebody else have control of your money and make all this. You're not making this. Oh, but Chris, I'm making money in the stock market. Yeah, just give it a year or two and that'll all go away. And then you'll be back on a training in 2 years from now saying, boy, I wish I would have listened to you. Don't be that person. And I'm not sitting here saying like I have all the answers. My crystal ball has been in the repair shop now for weeks. And they keep saying that COVID is like made it so they're limited staff and they can't get it done. I'm getting pissed. I'm like, man, I need that thing back by next week. I got a big training coming up the end of this month and I need that damn crystal ball. And they keep saying we can't guarantee anything. I don't have a crystal ball, but I tell you, it's coming. So let's talk 401k still. Sorry. And then I know Sodi's here and I don't want to take time from him, but you got a 401k, but you no longer work for the company. That 401k is just sitting out there and you're just like, well, I don't know. I didn't know what to do with it. Okay. How about you do the 3-day event? We connect you with Horizon and Horizon doesn't charge you to set up a self-directed IRA. Okay. And now we've got a self-directed IRA. What can you do with a self-directed IRA? Can you lend? Yep. You can lend money to Steven because Steven's going to go out and buy a new real estate deal. And you're going to charge Steven 12% interest for this real estate deal he wants to buy. And you're just going to lend money from your self-directed IRA. Oh, but Chris, I have a Roth. Great. How about we do it from self-directed Roth? I got a simple. Well, great. Roll your simple into that self-directed IRA or set up a self-directed simple IRA, a self-directed SEP. How about a self-directed 401k? You can do all this. You see, you don't only have to be under their control all the time. Like the other 401ks, when you work for somebody, you don't control the outcome. Here, you do. So you can have a 401k that's yours, but it's self-directed, meaning you are in control of the outcome. The only thing you need to do is you got to know where to put that. So that money could go to Steven. Okay, you could learn from Kevin Shortell, who's one of the best at notes. What is a note? Okay, it's a piece of paper. It's a security instrument. And then there's a security, which is the real estate. So notes can pay anywhere between 8 and I think 13%. You could just lend money on notes. And then these notes kick off and pay you income. And that income goes right back into your IRA. You could do this over and over. You could do this into private loan or private funds. You could find yourself a private fund that pays you 9 to 12%. And then that income goes back. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm talking fast because it's the same darn thing we've been talking about the whole time. I don't care whether it's a self-directed IRA. I don't care whether it's a 401k. I don't care whether it's this private equity firm giving you equity in your house. You realize I just hit on a whole bunch of different places and all those different things, the equity in homes, 401ks and employer-sponsored plans and IRAs. Do you realize that accounts for probably about, I'm just going to ballpark it, a couple $100 trillion in this country alone. And I'm probably low on that number. So don't tell me that some of you don't have one of those vehicles. And I want to know how many of you are actually making your money work for you. And don't tell me like that making your money work means you have your money in the stock market, because that, although is making your money work, you might just be coming to the end of that ride. And that's the scary part.
And I mean, think of it this way, because we'll hear this a lot. Well, if this is so good and if this stuff works so well, and if you can go out there and make this kind of money and put your money to work, and why isn't everybody doing it? Right? You ever hear that, Chris? Like, why have I never heard this stuff before?
Of course. Well,
and this isn't us telling you this stuff.
How come my advisor didn't tell me to take the equity in my house and pay it off? I just had this the other day.
Look at the screen real fast though, Chris. This is straight from the Social Security Administration. If you take 100 people at retirement age, this is straight from Social Security website. Take 100 people in the United States at retirement age. One of them is going to be wealthy. 4 will be financially secure. 5 will have to continue working. 36 are going to be passed away by that point in life. And 54 are going to be dead broke. So these are statistics in our country. There's a reason that 1% of or 3% or whatever it is control 99% of the money. Like, this stuff is not hard. It's just you've never been taught it before. It wasn't taught in school. It wasn't taught. You were told to go invest in your 401k, get a financial advisor, depend on a pension down the road or your retirement accounts or whatever. It just doesn't work. All right, period.
But why is that? Am I, or, Kiyosaki and me and just so few people talking about this? Like, what gives? Like, either I'm wrong or they're wrong. Like, what's the difference? It's not about being right or wrong. Do you know what it's about? Let me show you, because it's very simple. That's what it's about. Can your financial advisor get paid for setting you up with a self-directed IRA? No. Does your financial advisor get paid for you taking a home equity line of credit and then paying off your debt and then using the money that you were giving to all your debtors and putting it back into your home equity line, but taking some of it and paying your car payment? Does your advisor make any money? Does the bank broker you work with make any money? And why are they called brokers? I shouldn't even say that, but are they broker than you? I don't know. That was an internal joke when I was an advisor. We're like, I hate that word. Why are we called brokers? But anyway, you get the
why they have the lollipops at the bank, right?
Yeah. Why does your lollipop, every lollipop at every bank in this country that I've ever been to, why are they all made by a company that's called what, Stephen? What is the wrapper on every one of them called?
Suckers.
Dum-dums. Dum-dums. Why is it every sucker is called dum-dums? You guys ever think about this stuff? No, because you've been taught, if this is where you need to be looking, you've been distracted and taught that this is what you should be doing. Why? So that somebody else can make this. And I hate to tell you the truth, but you know what? The truth freaking hurts. And if you can't handle the truth, get out of the kitchen. I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't handle the truth, the 3-day, well, man, that'd be like burning alive. I hate to say that. But if you want to know the truth, the 3 days where you're going to learn it. The 3-day event is going to go so deep into some of these truths and these misconceptions, and you're going to understand why it is you haven't learned this. Why is it that not many people have ever, or why is it you've never heard about privatized banking? Okay. So privatized banking or the infinite banking concept, how come you never heard of that before you heard of me? Somebody couldn't get paid, or somebody had to take a pay cut of 60 to 90% so that you have access to your money. Do you see what I'm saying, folks? We could go round and round on this, but I'm taking time away from Sodi, and Sodi's got something important to show you. I'm just trying to help you see what's really going on out there, folks, because there's not a whole lot of people out there telling you the truth. And why is it? Because there's no freaking money in it. Do you think I'm going to make a living and Steven's going to make a living off of your $297 enrollment into the 3-day? No. You know why we charge $297? It's very simple. It's so that you actually take it serious. It's not because we need the $297. We're going to blow all $297 that you give us. 100% of that money, and probably some. You know what we're going to spend that on? Marketing to put more people in front of the truth. All of it. We'll spend all of it. You know what? And if you're a marketing company and you want to do marketing, let's trade $297 for your marketing services. Okay? Because that's all we're going to do with it. And only reason you're paying us for that is so that we can get more butts in seats to teach more people the truth, to teach more people how to take back control of their money. Sorry, I'm on a tangent here, Sodi. I apologize, but like, this is the truth. It's red pill or blue pill. You've seen the Matrix. Sorry about all the movie things, but like, we all recognize these things. We've seen them before. The signs have been everywhere. You just have not been pointed the right direction, which is why you're here. And I'm honored that you are, because you're spending your time with us. Even though this event's free, Time is your most valuable asset. Now, the 3-day, you will not only spend time, but you'll also put your money to work. So you'll have time and money invested, and that is unbelievably powerful. So Stephen, what questions we got on this stuff?
We're good, man. We're good. Let's get Sodi.
Sodi, woo! Don't forget, we got to give a book away too. So start thinking of a question on how we can give this out.
All right.
We there, Sodi?
Yes, sir.
There he is. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. We've got lots of people. Whoop, lost you. We got lots of people here waiting to hear the truth and what you can show them about like how and what you do at 1010 when you pop back on. So we'll just give him just a second with the technical glitches. Or not. All right. Well, let's.
There we go. All right.
You back?
Okay,
there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool. So what do we want to do? So I know you're one of the speakers at the 3-day. And right. I know the last couple that you've done, you've had, it's always a tie between you and the entity guy, right? The protection guy with the most questions. So what is it that you're going to teach everybody at the 3-day? And can you give them like a couple golden nuggets for today? Because we want to make sure they walk away from here with at least one golden nugget. And if I didn't give them a golden nugget there, it's now your job, buddy.
All right. No, absolutely. So we've talked a lot about, the markets. We've talked a lot about where we are. We've kind of gone around in circle for so long. And we've always mentioned the same thing. I talked about hedging, how to protect investments, how to do things like that. But I think I have something very special now because I've been working on, some historical data to try to find out some examples if you would have applied or even known what 1010 teaches you in certain time frames of the markets that people weren't prepared for, you don't have to be a clairvoyant to know what's coming. Let's say you don't even believe in what's coming. Let's say you think the market is going to go up forever. That's perfectly fine with it. But the problem is most people are not only not aware, they're not prepared. Being aware is one thing. You may know, oh, okay, I know what's coming, or we might be hitting a top, we might see a market decline, anything of that sort. But the bigger question than that to me is, are you prepared? Most people, when they tell me, they're like, oh, the market's going up. I'm like, yeah, but did you make money? They're like, no. I'm like, okay. Well, they're like, oh, the market's going to crash. I'm like, are you ready? They're like, no. Knowing is one thing, taking action is another. And I know you talk a lot big about this, like knowledge is one thing, but you have to take the action, to take the step. So last time we talked about hedging and, understanding what hedging is, things like that. But this time I've been doing some back testing and trying to use the 1010 method, that how that method would have worked in previous market declines if you had just been prepared. I'd shown an example of how one of our portfolios worked out last year during the March decline. We didn't know what was coming. We just followed our rules, exactly the same thing that we teach. So we decided, okay, let's back test this in every market decline in the last 20 years to see how the market would have reacted, what a regular portfolio would have done, and what a 1010 portfolio in that market environment would have looked like. To actually give people the real life example, the real look into the numbers, the data, the meat and bones of what the 1010 system is, what we teach in the course. So I'm very excited. I've been working on it for a little bit. I'm trying to put everything together. I want to make it as easy to understand and follow through for everybody. But I want everyone to understand that you have to know. You have to know that knowing that, oh yeah, the market's going to crash and all is one thing. But how do you protect yourself? Or how do you prepare yourself for that? It's a whole different game. You can't just go out and be like, oh, I'm just going to sit in cash. Well, you don't know when to get back in. A lot of people would say, I'm just going to sit in cash. Well, for how long? A year, 20 years, 30 years? Well, we don't know. Nobody knows. And we try to guesstimate, which is, I think, in my opinion, as a trader and all, that is the worst skill. That is one thing that mankind sucks at, guesstimation. Trying to guess what is the right level, what is the right time. I don't think even I can guess well. And as a trader, when you guess, you get slaughtered. So that's why you have rules. You have predetermined rules. You have your guidelines. You have all those things to prevent these things from happening. Because when you start guesstimating and when you start just like, oh no, if this, when you start to deviate from your rules, from your guidelines, from what is how things should, you should be doing it, things don't work out well. Things don't work out well. And I can tell this to so many times. And Chris and I talk a lot about, markets and things like that. And we'll always brainstorm ideas. We'll always like go back and forth on what we think, how we are, just have different perspectives. And at the end of it, Chris and I always come down to one conclusion. Whatever the position, whatever the idea, whatever the thesis, as long as we have our rules, we will be fine. As long as we know when to get in, we know when to get out, we know what to do when certain things happen, we'll be fine. And that's the core of the 10-10 method, to have your predetermined baseline rules so you're not deviating, you're not lost in the crowd, you're not confused. And that's what my goal is for this 3-day event, to kind of put all of that together to show you guys just having certain rules, like knowing how to hedge is one thing, but seeing if you just follow the rules, we don't know what can happen. How just following your rules sometimes in the market can prevent you from not only getting slaughtered, but getting caught up in all the noise around you. And that, I think, is the biggest fault that we think we're very good at. And as a trader, I've traded for like 9-10 years. I've traded different markets. Maybe 1 out of 100 times I guessed and I was right, where I could say I guessed it 100% and I was right 99% of the time. I was wrong, and I was wrong bad. I knew exactly what I should have been doing and I didn't do it because I was trying to guesstimate, the human fallacy. But so that's one thing I really am excited about to share with everybody at the 3-day event, to show, hey, just having very simple rules, just very simple rules to protect yourself. You don't have to go out and sit in cash. You don't have to go out and you don't have to do, like, what we say, moderation. Moderation is key. You don't have to be an extremist in anything. You don't have to go out and just go all in or all out. Moderation, just have your rules. And that's what I am really, really, really excited to share with everybody at the 3-day. I've been working on a lot of back tests, putting, the 2000 crash, the 2007 crash, 11, the gas, gold, everything to show how a regular portfolio would have fared, and just how simple hedging 10-10 rules would have not only prepared you, would have helped you go to bed with a peace of mind,
I always tell people, Sodi, when I talk about what you do, because a lot of people think options trading and day trading and stock trading is so complicated and so far above them because they've never been shown it. And I always tell them what Sodi teaches is literally boring as hell. It is. It's boring. It's consistent and persistent and boring. But in boring and inconsistent and persistent lies a beautiful thing: making money.
Oh yeah, very true. And we had our recent students that went through the mentorship that we just finished in February, and by the end of it, even I was like, I'm like, nobody's gonna say it, but I know it's boring, isn't it? They're like, yeah, but it works. It's the consistency that matters. And once you see it, again, practice is key. And I always ask people, I'm like, would you rather practice 30 different skills and try to juggle everything at once, or would you just find one thing that you're really excited about, that that works, that you can really get good at, and just get consistent at it? I mean, the answer is pretty straightforward there. So, you don't have to be a jack of all trades. You never have to be a jack of all trades. You just have to be consistent and know what works for you. And actually at 10-10, we're always like, we're always improving. Nothing is the same. We're always building up on our last step. We always want to take it one step higher. So we also have something very exciting for you guys at the 3-day event, which I'll announce, a special trading event that we are putting together. So I'll give more details. I'm not going to and no spoilers right now.
I know everybody's thinking, a trading event, and how much is that going to cost, Sodi? I know they're thinking that. So what's that going to cost?
Should I tell them? Should I tell them?
I don't know. That might scare them. Really?
Okay. Well, if anybody gets scared, I'm sorry. But if Chris says it's going to be absolutely free, we're going to host.
We just lost a person. They got so scared that it was free that they dropped off.
We're going to be hosting, and I'll give more information on this in our 3-day event, because I don't want to give any spoilers yet. But if you guys are there, you will get the inside scoop on that. We will be hosting a 3-day trading event on a weekend that's going to be absolutely free. I am not only going to be talking about options, I am putting together an event absolutely free, Michael. I'm inviting as many traders, as many people in the market that I know who have, consistently have seen things the way I do, where, they're consistent, they're boring, but they want to share their information. They want to share their knowledge with everybody, because they know, hey, you don't have to go for the flashy stuff. You don't need all those crazy things. You want to keep it very simple, very key. And we're very excited for that. But again, I'm not going to say anything more than that. But yeah, we are doing that. And like I said, 10-10 is always evolving. We're always taking it one step up. So what's coming next? We're very excited for it. I will give all the information at the 3-day event. I hope to see everybody there. But again, what I have for you guys there is something so key, so crucial, because like I said, simple rules. And it's not a 30-page constitution. It's a very simple 1-page rule. Hey, if this happens, this is what we have to do, and this is how you do it. Very simple, very key, very boring. But when things don't work out, that boring stuff is what makes you smile, is what makes you happy. So
yeah, I think that's great. And so the free event, not only is it free, you're going to have other people there. So other people are actually willing to show up to a free event and teach people what they know, their secrets and how they do it. And they're going to drop bombs.
Absolutely. There you go. That was a good one. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, people understand what 1010 and what you, Chris, have put here. So it's people see that we are here to actually educate people. We are here to tell people, hey, you don't have to go the hard route. We're here to help you take control of your money in the best possible way, in the easiest manner, without having to go too crazy. And I always tell people, if you want something fancy, if you want to sound smart, I can teach you that. There's no problem with that. I can teach you how to sound smart talking about options, but it's not going to do you any good because you can't use it. So might as well learn something that you can actually use, that people will be like, how did you do that? Then rather just sound smart and not do anything.
I agree. And it's funny, before you came on, Sodi, we were talking a lot about how people get so overwhelmed, and you've seen this with a lot of the 1010 students. They get overwhelmed that there's too much and it's like a second job and they got all this stuff to learn. But really, in the 3-day event, one thing that I will tell you is it is a lot of stuff, but don't think you need to learn everything. Remember, your money problem, what is it? Is it debt? Is it your 401k? Is it wanting to take control and manage your own money? Is it that you're retired, or maybe you have time and you want to learn one new trade, one boring thing that will consistently and persistently make you money? You got to pick 1 or 2 things, no more than 2. So you're going to learn a lot more than 2 things at the 3-day. But you really got to focus your energy and attention on 1 to 2 things. And when you hear that 1 or 2 things that really fires you up, that you're like, oh my God, that would be so awesome, you attack that aggressively. You go after that and you put all your time and your energy and your focus on that. You write it down in that little postcard, just like Earl Nightingale said. Remember the 30-day test? You write it on there and you look at it every day, and you do that every day. You focus on it, you fixate on it. And then after 30 days, you move on to the next when you've mastered the first. That's why I started yesterday with the strangest secret in the world. We need to focus on just one money problem. And whatever that is, whatever you get out of this 3-day event that you're going to attend, that is what you go deep into. And if it's Sodi, great. If it's privatized banking, awesome. If it's, Kevin Shortell and notes, awesome. If it's cryptocurrency with Spencer, great. You see what I'm saying? We've got all of it covered and we keep making it better. So if you were at the last 3-day, this one's different, folks. They all are. There might be some overlap, but you can never hear this stuff too many times. Brent Kessler says, the more times you get around the campfire, the better. How many of you have gotten around a campfire with your friends and you talk about the same damn thing, but yet it's still interesting? Your neighbor and your family members talk about the same stories, but it's still interesting. Same thing, but it's not going to be the same thing. It's going to be all different context, different stuff. So if you came to the last one, I urge you should probably come to this one, because you can never get around this campfire too many times, and you will start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for whatever that money problem is, because it will start getting solved, just like those testimonials showed. So Sodi, thank you so much for coming on and dropping bombs. We appreciate it very much.
Always looking forward to it. Thanks so much for having me.
I got the sound machine back out. All right. So
thanks, Sodi.
Always, man. Always.
Thanks, man.
All right, cool. So yeah, so we're at 5:30, so we're gonna start wrapping things up. If there's any last questions, we're happy to answer those for you. Otherwise, I just want to go through what we're going to be, where you can enroll for the 3-day, make sure you get registered for the 2-hour coaching call, and just briefly show you everything that you're going to get. And then from there, join us next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to get into more detail about self-directed IRAs. We're going to get into that file vault that you're going to receive also included with the 297 3-day. So those are the tools that Chris used to flip over 260 homes. You're going to get those. So we're going to go through those and how you can use those in your business, how you can start evaluating deals, whether you're looking to wholesale or flip yourself, or you're just looking to lend your money. You still have to know how to evaluate a deal so you know whether or not you should lend that money, right? So we're going to teach you all that. So make sure you join us next Monday. So Chris, what do you want to do with this book? What do you think? Let's do that, and then I'll show everybody. Or do we want to keep them on? Let me show you first. Let me see.
Pull something up.
So let me just show you the page. So I put the link over in the chat. So that it's going to bring you to this page right here. So all you do, if you want to see a little bit more details, this is the schedule for it. So I'm just going to give you a warning. It says it ends at 2:30. It's not going to end at 2:30. We're going to go. Yeah, we'll go beyond that. But so you can take a look at everything that we got going on here. But all you got to do is click reserve your seat and just put your information in. We'll get you set right up with that. And then just to show you, you're also going to get a 30-day trial to MSTV, which is right here. So MSTV is our on-demand, basically content area that's for members only. And this is all content that we've created since COVID hit last March. So this is all brand new stuff, Investors Network. And so we're going to teach you, this is stuff that you can watch again, videos you can watch over and over again. So we don't want you to get overwhelmed, but we want you to have the support and the knowledge so you can go back and watch this stuff at your own pace. And if you decide to join MSTV, it's $19 a month or $190 for a year. And now you can add on the ultimate coaching experience that includes, right now for a limited time, it's going to include the private money club, full support from us, the perfect loan proposal, and our group coachings that we do every single month. So we got all that going on. So check that out. It's moneyschooltraining.com, MSTV, but you're going to get a free 30-day trial, including the monthly coaching call for MSTV for joining the 3-day. So that's pretty cool stuff. So you can check out all this, gives you an idea of what you're going to learn. These are all videos, and we've made them into short. They're 15 minutes, give or take a minute or two, but they're all actionable. So they're things you learn and you can go apply it right away. And if we introduce you to somebody, all their contact info is there. So it's really good stuff on here. So I just wanted to point that out. All right. All right, Chris.
So I'm thinking we got a book to give away, and I want to know, we got to figure out how to give this book away. So I've been talking about movie quotes. Oh, yeah. Studio guest Joseph just came up with a good one. And this is the very first person that gives me the answer to this. And this is a movie quote. So in Jeopardy, it's like, yes. Oh my God, what was his name in Jeopardy before he passed? Alex, I'll take movies for 500. So that's what that is. But this is movies for crucial conversations. What was the quote? What movie was this quote from? You can't handle the truth. First person gets the book. You can't handle the truth. What movie was that from? Few Good Men. Is that the book? There we go. Just checking with our judges, and that's right. The first one goes to John. So John, what I need you to do real quick is
Man, that was fast. We had a bunch of answers come in almost at once.
Few Good Men, great one. So we're going to give this book right here, Crucial Conversations. John, if you're not going to read the book, give it to somebody that you care about that will read it. Otherwise, this is a fantastic book. What we need, John, is we need you in the Q&A to send us your mailing address so that I can jot it down, and I will get this in the mail for you by tomorrow. And with that being said, the book is gone, and we're going to do something like that on Monday as well. We're going to be giving away another book from the stash, and that's exactly what it is. It's going to be a very important book, one that I've never given away for free, to be honest with you. And it's not my book, so I'm not going to give you my book because you can already get my book for free on my website, chrisnaugle.com. But so John's going to send in his address. And Stephen, what else? Like, do you want to pull up on the PowerPoint the slide that shows all the bonuses, the things that they get for the 3-day, and then we're going to wrap on that.
Yeah. I'll pull it up.
That was crazy, man. A lot of people saw A Few Good Men. Look at that. Woo!
Right.
Look at that. And that's awesome. John, I want you to take note of Keith's comment. How smart is that, right? John, I'll pay for the shipping to get that when you're done reading it. So in other words, when John's done reading it, Keith has agreed to pay the shipping so that he can get the book and read it. That is the act of giving. I love it. So, never ever forget that. Giving is one of the most powerful things that you all can do. And that's why I like giving stuff away. So Stephen, yeah, show them some of this stuff here.
Yeah, perfect. So yes, this event is virtual. It will be on Zoom. So you'll get each morning you'll log in. You will be on there. We'll be answering questions the entire time. You'll be able to chat in and interact with us the entire time. Chris, myself, Sodi, as well as all the other speakers that will be there. So they will all be on there answering questions, when it's their turns and interacting with you. So Jack Bosch is teaching, well, one of the top land investors. So forget about toilets, tenants, and termites. Learn how to invest in real estate using
his
land.
program. I didn't get any discounts. We bought his program, and Dimitri is using it every day. He's right now got 2 land contracts right now under contract. One of them is a waterfront. He's got multiple people interested. We just started. So that's how intriguing that Jack was. I mean, we bought. So you got to understand, like, I'm always willing to drop money and invest in things that will further where we're going.
Awesome. You get yours truly, myself. Chris Rude will be there. Chris Rude is doing amazing stuff right now. I talked to him on Monday, and he's wide open. I mean, he's looking to become one of the top mobile home investors in the country, and he's starting to compete with hedge funds and these big boys, private equity companies, and he's got the skills to do it, and he's crushing people right now. So he's going to talk about affordable housing, what's going on with the real estate market, and he also runs an incredibly successful wholesaling business as well. So Chris is doing some really awesome stuff, and a select few of you will have an opportunity to do some investing with Chris as well through the Private Money Club. Spencer's coming on. This is by demand. One of the things that we have not ever covered in the past, this is the first time we're bringing somebody on to teach you about cryptocurrencies, things like Bitcoin. It just hit $60,000. So it might be something to start looking at. Mass Mutual, one of the largest mutually owned insurance companies in North America, just dropped $1.5 billion on Bitcoin or something like that. So
100 million, but then they bought another company that was the blockchain, so it wasn't Bitcoin, but they put 100 million in Bitcoin.
100 million.
Elon Musk took a massive investment in Bitcoin. I mean, it's happening all over the place.
All over.
Yeah. So you want to learn about it. You want to be cautious with it, which Spencer's going to talk about some of the risks with it, but there's an entry point and an exit point. You got to follow the rules, but that's what that's what I like about him. He was very honest about it. He wasn't just saying, oh yeah, buy in. No, he has a strategy, and that's what he's going to teach you in the 3-day.
Yeah. And I love that because, it's not right for everybody, but it's all about knowledge and being able to make that right decision for you and the tolerance that you have. So I can't wait to hear about, what Spencer has to say about that. We have Bo Winder coming on. He's going to talk to you about, he works for company Seed Capital. So if you need any startup money for a new business, for real estate, for marketing, he's got some really cool ways to use personal lines of credit through the business at 0%. For 12 to 18 months. So Bo will be joining us. Kevin Shortell, we talked about earlier, one of the top note investors in the country. Brent Kessler, of course, the godfather of infinite banking and the owner and founder of Money Multiplier, who, basically has taught Chris everything he knows about IBC, and in turn has now taught me as well, and a lot of our students. So Brent, always learns something new from him every time I see him present. And then Brent Carlson, owner and CEO of Corporate Capital, and he's going to be talking about how to protect your money through asset protection, through use of LLC, saving on taxes, creating trusts, and things of that nature. So he's always very
more questions come from him speaking than anyone else. And then obviously we got Sodi coming on as well.
Yeah, Sodi, and then also Matthew Sullivan with Quantum RE.
Yeah, we need to update this. We got Matthew Sullivan, who's the private equity firm that will give you the equity in your house. His company does that. So we got a little updating we need to put on there, but that's all the people you're going to be learning from. And then me as well, and Stephen as well. It's an action-packed 3 days, and you get the recordings. It's definitely something that I would suggest. If you've got somebody you really care about, have them join you. You know, it'd be like a really big event comes through your hometown and you're like, oh my God, you know, such and such is going to be speaking. You would grab all the people you care about and say, let's go. Like, I got you a ticket. Come on. And you'd bring them. And that's what you should be doing here.
Yep. So also you do receive the file vault. Again, those are all the tools used to evaluate deals. We'll go over that on Monday. The comprehensive wealth builder kit, which just, I mean, it's just in-depth training on market patterns and just stuff that Chris has put together that, you know, you're not going to see anywhere else. So you get that. We've talked about the free self-directed IRA. You do get a consultation with a money school mentor. So either myself or someone else just to discuss, you know, what is your plan of action? What are those 1 or 2 strategies that you're going to implement right now from the weekend? Because again, we're not going to just teach you for 3 days and send you out on your own. We're there to support and help you. So that starts with setting up that first call. Starting on Monday, I clear out my schedule the week after just to work with you guys. So, you know, I'll be working with you, creating your financial GPS, your financial action plan to move forward and start implementing what we teach. And then, as we said, you get the free month to MSTV, which again is over here. So you can check out everything that you get. So that's, you know, that's everything that you receive, as well as if you enroll by Thursday, you can join us for our 2-hour monthly group coaching call. This month is going to highlight Jack Petrick talking about, he's one of those owner operators. He buys multifamily and does single family development. So he's going to talk about how he does that and how you can be part of that through the Private Money Club. We're also going to have Irving on. Irving's going to be talking about private money lending. So the stuff Chris was teaching you earlier about creating the note, creating the promissory note, creating the mortgage, putting insurance on it. If you like that idea, and I know a lot of you are because I've already talked to you about it, you know, Irving's going to be coming on Thursday, starting to teach about how to become a private money lender and do it legally and do it the right way, where you can do it for basically the rest of your life. So that's everything that we're going to be going over with you. So I can't wait. It all starts, well, it started yesterday with these previews, going into Thursday evening, going into next Monday, and then going into Friday morning, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be rocking and rolling. So looking forward to those of you that are joining us. You know, can't wait to spend the weekend with you and then chatting with each and every one of you afterwards to implement those plans.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I hope to see a bunch of you on Monday, and I hope to see even more of you at the 3-day, so we can get you all on your way to taking back control of your money, which is the single most important thing you all need to do right now. Just like my watch says now. So with that being said, thank you all for spending your time with us today, and we will see you on the next one. And some of you actually will be joining us tomorrow for the Wealth Webinar Series, which we've got none other than Pace Morby. If you don't know who Pace Morby is, he's sort of a sensation on Instagram. Check him out, Sub2 Real Estate Investing, and he is on the Wealth Webinar Series tomorrow. So if you guys are not already registered for that free training, get registered. And if you don't have the link, email Shauna at chrisnaugle.com. She'll love that. I had to drop it in there.
Just email her and say hi. I don't know.
Yeah, just email Shauna and say hi. She'll love you for it. But no, if you need the registration link, I'll drop it in the chat. You can just email her and she will send you the link for tomorrow's Wealth Webinar Series with Pace Morby. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.